Hello, fellow stitchers. My name is Cher Johnston. Welcome to my happy place. Today I'm going to use this book, Embroidery for All Seasons. Diana Lamps, whatever. In the book, she tells you what colors to use, what needles to use. I'm loosely following that. I have number 444, that's the yellow for our sunflower. I think she uses a different color. I don't have it. Then 783 and 433, that's for the center of the center knots. And then 3347 for the stem and the leaves. Now she says that you start with, I think she had 2 strands. I don't know. She says to use a number 8 straw needle. A straw needle is the same as a milliner's needle. And I have a number, I think this is a number 5 milliner's needle. For the centers, she says to use a crewel needle. I think that's the same as an embroidery needle. And I don't know what size these are. I think it's around a 7. I'm not sure. I don't know that it's really that important. If we run into trouble, I'll let you know. You start with a smaller circle and a larger one around that. You don't need 3 circles. I did these 2 and decided that the inside one needed to be smaller. All right, so I'm going to start with detached chain bullion knot stitches. So it starts with a detached chain stitch, wrap around the needle, and then I'm gonna wrap 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then I'm going to put my thread down this way and put my thumb over top of that and pull all the way through. And I want to pull the thread this direction and tighten up that bullion knot and then go to the back. Now, this is one of those cases where I don't always edit out. A lot of times I just leave in my mistakes and stuff. This time I couldn't do that. I'm using 3 strands of embroidery floss, and again I'm going back in where I came out just beyond that middle line. Then I'm going to wrap around the needle, do a bullion knot 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I'm over it and pull through. Then I'm going to talk for a minute about sunflowers in your garden. Sunflowers, many different varieties of sunflowers, and some are short. They're like 2 or 3 feet tall, like the same size as the Shasta daisy that we did. Sometimes they're as tall as the hollyhocks that we did. Sometimes, they're like 8 to 10 feet tall. So you could put them in the back with the hollyhocks, or you could put them like mid-range. Also, I had 1, 2, 3, 4. In my garden, see, sometimes also they have the centers are really, really, really big. think sunflower seeds. The ones that I had in my garden had huge centers, and you would let it go to seed, which means you leave it. They're not good for cut flowers. You just leave it until it dies, and you leave the seeds on the plant so they dry out and stuff, and then you have sunflower seeds that can be eaten. All right, I'm gonna do one more of these, and then I'm gonna finish off camera. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna pull over this way and pull the needle through this direction, pulling constantly that direction. And I want to tighten it up just a bit. Go through the back. And make sure I'm not going through other stuff back there. Okay, so she says you start with the 4, north, south, east, and west, and then go through and fill in, which is what I'm going to do. And then I'll come back and we'll do the knots for the center. All right, one thing she says is to put in a lot of those bullion knot detached chain stitches. The more you put in, the better it'll look. And I think she's right. I think it looks pretty good. They're nice, tidy little stitches. Look at that. Okay, I looked at the book again, and she said you use either one of these 2 colors that I have. I have 2 strands of the lighter color and 1 strand of the darker color, just because I just like, variety like that. So a French knot goes like this. You point your needle away from the fabric, wrap the thread around the needle 1, 2, or 3 times. I'm just going to do 1 wrap, and then pull a needle through. Now I like colonial knots, so I'm going to do colonial knots because I can. You make a backward C and go this way around the needle, and then this way around the needle. You have a figure 8 on the needle. Go to the back, holding the needle from the back, pull that knot down, and pull through to the back. I'm liking this little sunflower. Backward C, around figure 8. There we go. I think sunflowers are cheerful looking. I had sunflowers in my garden. I used to have a beautiful garden. I had lots of rose bushes, and I planted sunflowers and hollyhocks are both annual plants, which means you have to plant them again and again and again. I also planted lots of wildflowers. Like I just had this wildflower mix that I would spread around in the back. Had some nice cut flowers. And we had agapanthus in the front, which I want to do here on my flower sampler. Those are pretty flowers too. Alright, I'm not going to just jibber jabber all night. I'll finish this off camera and come back for the stem and leaves. So I don't know if I mentioned, I think I talked about the needle and the thread. I have 3, 3, 4, 7, and I have 3 strands. I think she said to use 2 strands. I'm going to use 3 because I just like that better. And we're doing a stem stitch. Now I want this one to be nice and thick. So I'm going back each time, going forward like 2 stitch lengths. I'm going to say a stitch length is about maybe half a centimeter. I'm going forward 2 and back 1 so that I'm always going back to that last stitch. And what we're going to do is a wrapped stem stitch. So I'm starting at the bottom and going to the top. I'm starting at the top near the flower and going to the bottom so that I can turn around and go back and go from the bottom up to the top when I wrap it. And then I'll be at the top to do leaves. So I have to tell you my thoughts. Today, I always have all these thoughts about new videos, and then this morning I was chatting with my friend Shirley. Hi, Shirley. And she said, we were talking about decluttering, and she said maybe I should do a video on decluttering. Well, there are lots of videos out there about decluttering, and I found a lady, Kate something, Kate White maybe? No, Dana? I'm watching this person, and she has videos about decluttering craft spaces. And it's very interesting. So I'm at the bottom now. I'm going to go back down to the bottom, and then I'm going to go up on the side. Now I'm just going to wrap this here. So Shirley and I talked about she's the one who asked about my Excel spreadsheet with the threads. And after that video, or after talking to her about it, she shown me somebody on Instagram, and this person on Instagram sells these little bunny thread bobbins, and I just I want to have them now. They're so cute. But I was telling her, fortunately for me, I just don't have the money for that now. And because I've been decluttering, I'm thinking twice about things that I'm buying. You know, um, one of the things that I ran across in, I need to get a quote from this lady, figure out what that quote was. In when you're decluttering craft supplies, you might think that having more um, sparks creativity. Excuse me. Let me get a drink of my tea here. But actually, the opposite is true, because um, I just experienced that. There was this, let me just show you because I have these right here. These little guys, these little thread grommets. I saw a video where somebody had done a book with, I think she had D rings, which are used when you make purses and stuff. And I think that she had D rings on the spine of her book to hold it together. I did a video where I showed my book. I made the grommets. Oh, look at that. What in the heck? There's like a little thread there. Okay. Um, I made the grommets to, well, for one thing, I I don't drive. I don't get out much. I go to Hobby Lobby now and then. I thought about going to Hobby Lobby to see if I could find the D rings. Well, when I went to Hobby Lobby, I forgot to look for them. And then I thought, there must be something fabric. I don't know how it came about, but it did. And I also have, because I'm cleaning and decluttering, I have crochet thread that I don't really use. Was thinking about just giving it away. Get back on camera. Thought about giving it away, and because it's a thread, I've decided. I bought, my gosh, here I have so many different thoughts. I keep going from one to the next. I bought 4 different size crochet threads because I didn't really know which one I wanted to use. I tried all 4 of them. I discovered that the size 3, that was the biggest one that I bought, the size 3 was way too big. So I use, like, I think I have a size 30 that I use for, oh heck, look what I just did. I have a size 30 that I was using for when I make crochet lace. Well, I used a size 5. I can't remember where I found that pattern, but I did find a pattern. And it used a size 5. And okay, now I'm going to go to the bottom, back, and I'm going to drink some tea. It's still early in the morning, and my voice hasn't caught up with me yet. Let's just trim that off. Anyway, I want a size 5 to make crochet lace. But anyway, so I had this crochet thread that I was going to get rid of. It works very well for those things. I wanted to sort of end off that thread so that I could start this and not, if I have to take this out because I don't like it, then I won't be taking out the whole thing. So she says to do straight stitches here. I'm going to do, this is a, fishbone leaf. I'm crossing over, and I'm going to the top side, and I'm going up on the top side. Then I'm crossing over again to go to the bottom side, and I'm gonna end this thread off and get more, and I think I'll just come back because you don't need to see all this. All right. Well, Mitzi's joined us now. So I'm going to go down on the other side and up here. They basically just crisscross. Let's turn it this way. I'm going to go over to this side and up here. Then over to this side and up there. Oh, the other thing that I was thinking about recently, thoughts. Donna Dewberry, when I was painting with her, she picked out like half a dozen or so colors, and so my students only had to buy half a dozen paint colors, and we did all of the projects in those colors, which is very cool for painting, but because you can always take white and mix with, you can take wicker white and mix berry wine, and you get a lovely pink. But with thread colors, you can't really do that. So, I don't know. But I think for this particular project, I'm keeping, I have a, I have a ring that has colors on it. So I already have a purple picked out, and I have, so far I have, I think, 3 different greens. I'll try not to pick out more greens. And a beautiful bright yellow. We'll use that again. And I'm going to pick out a couple of blues that go well. And then I think we have to do poppies, and poppies have to be, oh, they could be red, I guess. But I do like the orange poppies, the California poppies. All right, I think now that's good enough. And we're just going to do a little tiny stem. Now I'm going to do the rest of those off camera because this one looks a little bit wonky. And they always look nicer if I'm paying more attention to what I'm doing. So I'll do that and get rid of the red marks. And I'll come back. Okay, there she is. One final thought. You don't have to do a fishbone leaf on those. She calls for straight stitches and might have worked out better. At the top, they don't really cross over. If you want to do a fishbone leaf, here's a tip. It helped me to look at the back because your stitches are going from one side to the other. and then it's going back up in the back on the same side, and then it crosses over. But you could, like I said, you can do just straight stitches, draw a line down the center and do straight stitches. All right, that's my video for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me and Mitzi. If you're still here, please hit the hype button, like, share, subscribe, all the stuff. Bye.